kids, what time is it? That's right, it's time, once again, for Record Roulette. I hope you've all missed me doing this because it's been a little bit. I feel like it's been a couple months since I've done a Record Roulette video version. Don't forget, if you're not already listening to me over on AMP, which if you're in the US, it's now available on Android and iOS, but I do an audio version of Record Roulette where I use the random item feature on Discogs to build an hour-long playlist from whatever it pulls up. I do that every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock Central. I also do the Old Head Radio Show, 8 o'clock Central on Friday nights, and the All Request Show on Saturday nights at 9 o'clock Central. And it's always a fucking blast, and I love that I'm able to play music. And so far, AMP has been very good to me. They're not paying me to say this. I'm just excited to be there. But this is not that. This is the video version where I actually get to pull out the records and we actually get to look at them and talk a little bit more about them. So that's why this is exciting for me, and I hope it is for all of you out there. As usual, I am recording my screen on my laptop, so you will see the action as it happens. You will see me clicking the random item button, just like this right here. Random item. Starting it off with a little modern death metal, Tomb Mold, Planetary Clairvoyance. This is their most recent album, I believe, which I think is their third album. They're a death metal band from Toronto in Canada, and they really are just a new band doing an old school death metal sound. There's a lot of those these days, I realize that. And in the past, I've been critical of a lot of those bands, but then something clicked with me and I realized that, like, oh, I really love that sound. It's kind of like thrash metal for me. It's like if you do it in this certain way, even if you aren't the most unique of bands, I'm still really going to enjoy it. And Tomb Mold have things going for them that make them unique, but to those who aren't death metal connoisseurs, this is literally just going to sound like death metal like all the other bands are doing. Anyway, this is on 20 Bucks Spin Records. There's the dudes on the back. 20 Bucks Spin does a lot of really cool releases, really good quality shit. I also really like when it's black on the inside of the cover. There's nothing in there. It's just black. I don't know why. I like it. It just feels better. And here's the insert with some art on this side and, well, more art, but also all of the lyrics, the brutal lyrics on this side. But wait, there's more. There's a fold out of the album artwork. And on the other side, there's another little poster. You can choose which one you want to put on your wall. I choose neither. I don't have room on my walls anyway. So this release is from 2019, and this is, I have to read it. It's the Toronto Raptors Red /black/white tricolor merge. And that looks like this. Ooh. These kind of merge ones that have started coming out, I really like these because they just look nice spinning on the turntable. And you know, usually like when I pick out whatever color of a vinyl release I'm going to get, I go for whatever I think is the most interesting or most unique to my collection. Unless of course they've got, like, you can have red or blue, and then I'll probably choose red. I feel like for the most part, the death metal bands these days are being the most creative with their vinyl colors, and I appreciate that as a collector. Anyway, that is Tomb Mold, Planetary Clairvoyance. All right, 4 more to go. Let's see where Random Item takes us next. Random Item. So you guessed it, this one is not mine, but I have to talk about this one because this is my wife's favorite album of all time. So, oh, look, it's called Blue, and it's just blue on the back. This is a 2007 reissue of Joni Mitchell's classic album Blue, which was first released in 1971, and my wife does have a couple old school copies of it on vinyl as well, but this is this 2007 reissue that is pretty damn good quality. Just feeling it, I'm like, holy shit, this feels nice. It's a gatefold, and then you open it up, and there's some lyrics there. This album includes the song River, which is probably one of her most famous songs, but it also ended up making the Cranked and Ranked top 20 Christmas songs. If you remember when we did that episode like 2 years ago, I included Joni Mitchell's River just because it incorporates Christmas elements, but it just feels like a Christmas song to me. Now, I'm admittedly not really a Joni Mitchell fan, and if I had never met my wife, I probably would absolutely never talk about Joni Mitchell. But being with my wife and listening to the music through her has given me a better view on her as an artist and how her music affects people. Now, there's an insert in here that opens, but was that what? Because the record's not in that. The record's in this right here. But here you go. It's a faithful reproduction of how one of the original vinyl versions looked from Reprise Records, but it is on, feels like probably 180 gram vinyl. Does it matter? No, it doesn't. Maybe it goes like this, and so it's like it kind of an inner sleeve. I just realized that there's like a tiny track listing on the bottom. Can you even focus in on that to see that? Anyway, those are the songs. But yeah, needless to say, this album now means a lot to me because it means a lot to my wife, who means more to me than pretty much anything. So there you go. This one's from my wife, Joni Mitchell, Blue. Kind of an interesting beginning, going from death metal to Joni Mitchell, but it does actually make sense because over the past year or so, my wife has actually gotten pretty into death metal as well. So it's almost like the universe heard and spoke through Random Item. Let's hear what it's going to say now. All right, universe, let's do this. Random Item. So I guess we're hanging out in the 70s for a little bit longer. Kiss, Dressed to Kill. This is a 1975 pressing of this album. If you look, you can see the embossed Kiss logo going around the cover there. Pretty nice. And then on the back, you have the negative inverted version of the cover image. This is the last album they did before they really broke big. Like, they had a little bit of a following, but after this album is when they put out Alive, when all of a sudden they really blew up. But this has their most recognizable song, Rock and Roll All Night. Honestly, it's chock full of fucking great songs. Every fucking Kiss album is, let's be fair. But this one has this old school Casablanca Records printed inner sleeve. You know, not much going on there, but I really dig that. And then let's take a look at the record. Ooh, that side has a price tag on it that I was not going to fuck with. Somebody bought this record at one point for $2. I paid a little bit more for it. But if you look at the other side, you can see the actual Casablanca Records logo with the Kiss logo really tiny in the middle. Not much really to say about this album. I mean, you're into early Kiss or all Kiss, or you're not into Kiss at all, but either way, this is a really fun album. Really short, too, if I remember right. I think this album is less than 30 minutes long. Honestly, these days, more bands should be doing 30-minute albums. Just saying. Just like Kiss, Dressed to Kill. All right, 2 more to go. Almost 1,800 to choose from. Let's find out what happens next. Random Item. Fuck yeah. One of the best thrash albums of all time. Arise from Sepultura. This is a 1991 European pressing of this album. And man, I forked over a little bit of money for this one, but I mean, if you haven't heard me explain it before, I usually sit on Discogs for a while and wait to find that person that's got a copy that's in pretty good shape and they're kind of just trying to get rid of it, and maybe I end up paying $50, $60 for it. That's kind of what I hold on for. It's very rare that you're going to see me ever spend over $100 on something. I have a couple times. Honestly, I don't remember what I paid for this, but whatever it was very cheap because, like, look how it's in fucking great shape. No splits or anything. It's beautiful. Speaking of that, let's look at the inner sleeve here. Inner sleeve has a split at the bottom there, but there you go. There's some lyrics and all that shit. You know, not a lot going on. You can see an image in there, right there. You see it? You see it? You see it? And here's the record on Road Racer Records right there. Pretty boring overall, but I mean, if you're wanting an original copy, this is what they look like, and that is what I wanted. This was the first Sepultura album I ever heard. and I've been a fan ever since. I just remember the first time I heard. I mean, can you imagine like the first song you hear from a band is Arise? That first song, how it starts, and it's fast as fuck. At the time, I think it was probably 92 when I heard this for the first time. This is probably the fastest shit I had ever heard. And it's still some of my favorite shit ever made. Sepultura, Arise. All right, one more to go. I am really digging where this episode has taken us, but obviously we got to stop sometime, and I usually choose to stop at 5. So let's do this, everybody. Random item. Closing things out with some more early 90s classic thrash. Defiance, Void Terra Firma. This is the second album from Defiance, a band from Oakland, California. And they broke up but got back together. I don't know if they're still together or not. You tell me. But this album came out in 1990. This is a 1990 pressing. And here's the back cover with the dudes. A big old picture of the band on the back cover. But it's pretty straightforward thrash. Sounds like thrash of the time, but very well done. This is a band that doesn't get mentioned a lot, but I feel like they should, just because it's real. If you're into thrash, this is fucking good quality shit right here. And here's the inner sleeve, which has some more pictures of the dudes and some lyrics on the inside. And then a big old roach on the other side here with some other lyrics. This version was released in the Netherlands, also on Road Racer Records, with a slightly different Road Racer Records logo. And the same old boring shit on the other side. Now, I know they didn't do a lot of original pressings of these albums, but if I remember correctly, Music on Vinyl repressed the first 2 Defiance albums. And honestly, these days when it comes to labels that do repressings, Music on Vinyl shit is always high quality. So if you can find one of those versions of these albums, the first 2 Defiance albums, third one's great too, but I don't think they did a repressing of that one yet, and I don't have that one. But I'd say pick it up, because are you into thrash? Yeah, then this is for you. That was fun, wasn't it? Sometimes I get a little disappointed that we don't pull up as many 12-inch maxi singles or 7 inches, but we got a nice variety, some death metal, some Joni Mitchell, some Kiss, some classic early 90s thrash, and that's the kind of variety that you can hear on my weekly AMP radio show. Like I said, I do 3 of them. You can find a link down in the video description if you're really interested in it. It has a link to AMP, which has my show schedule, but Tuesday nights, 7 o'clock Central, an hour-long musical episode of Record Roulette, created exactly as you saw me create it here. I push random item, something comes up, I choose a song from that, and I build an hour-long playlist. And we all enjoy an hour of fun tunes and me being able to brag about how many records I have, which is really the point of all this, right? But I'm guessing you're okay with that because you're still here. And I thank you. And I will see you all again very soon.